When modern longevity researchers look at the human body, they see a biochemical machine. They operate at the thermodynamic level, measuring calories, analyzing protein pathways, and treating aging like a mechanical breakdown. But their models repeatedly fail to explain how cells actually make decisions because they are ignoring the physics happening beneath the chemistry. The human body operates as a warm, wet quantum computer. Light, water, and magnetism are the true drivers of this biological system. These forces dictate cellular behavior more than any dietary or biochemical input. Centralized science struggles with this reality. Acknowledging the quantum physics of the human body forces the medical establishment to admit that their primary models are incomplete and that human biological potential is vastly greater than they currently understand. The hardware running this quantum computer relies on a specific family of biological polymers known as melanin. It is often dismissed as a simple cosmetic pigment, but structurally, melanin is a carbon-based, wide-band gap semiconductor. It absorbs massive amounts of electromagnetic radiation, from ultraviolet to infrared, and instantly converts those photons into an electrical charge. Once that charge is generated, melanin interacts directly with the water in your cells to create what biophysicists call exclusion zone, or EZ water. This creates a fourth liquid crystal phase of water that acts as a biological battery, storing and transmitting the gathered energy throughout the body. This highly conductive melanin network runs throughout your entire nervous system. It channels energy with extraordinarily low resistance, outperforming synthetic superconductors like graphene at physiological temperatures. The modern AI and physics communities are currently studying this exact mechanism, yet they are thousands of years late to the discovery. Admitting the true biophysical power of melanin requires the modern scientific establishment to acknowledge an uncomfortable truth. They did not discover this quantum technology. They appropriated it from its original creators. Look at this geographic divide on the continent originally known as Alkebulan, specifically the Nile Valley of ancient Egypt. The indigenous people called this region Kemet, meaning the Black Land. The name referred simultaneously to the dark, fertile soil and the active, energy-transforming substance we now call melanin. The Kemetic civilization organized their entire society around a concept called ma'at. While modern historians translate this loosely as cosmic balance, it describes a precise biophysical state. Quantum physicists today call it non-destructive charge collapse, the exact condition where energy compresses and flows through a system without dissipating. They built tools to harness this state. The pyramids and temples of Kemet functioned as massive environmental resonance chambers. They were engineered to capture specific wavelengths of solar radiation and acoustic frequencies, often measuring around 111 Hz, to directly activate the body's melanin system. This stone carving is the Eye of Horus. It actually serves as a highly precise anatomical diagram of the human brain's neuromelanin center. When mapped against modern neuroanatomy, the structural parallels are exact. The center pupil aligns directly with the pineal gland. This heavily pigmented structure synthesizes melatonin and acts as the ultimate quantum transducer, converting electrical signals into expanded consciousness. Ancient Kemetic society maintained a fully operational blueprint for maximizing the human quantum computer through precise biological activation. Here is a Kemetic medical papyrus. It details the circulatory system, neuroanatomy, and surgical procedures thousands of years before European medicine. When Alexander of Macedon invaded, his explicit mission was to locate and copy this data. Once the original texts were copied, the libraries holding them were burned. The scientific principles were stripped of their origins, renamed Greek philosophy, and presented as European discoveries. The theft extended to cosmology. The Kemetic biological understanding of Osiris, Isis, and Horus was eventually repackaged into the Abrahamic Trinity. This religious hijack shifted human development away from internal biological power, redirecting it toward external submission and the promise of an afterlife. The original science survived through the Moorish Empire. In cities like Córdoba, custodians preserved the quantum biophysics under the name alchemia, the root of modern chemistry. Then came the Spanish Reconquista in 1492. Moorish libraries were destroyed in a second massive wave of erasure. The science of transformation was permanently divorced from its biological context, leaving European alchemists trying to physically turn lead into gold, completely unaware that the original black substance was human melanin. This multi-generational theft functioned as a calculated strategy to spiritually and biologically disarm the originators of the science. The transatlantic slave trade functioned as a deliberate, systematic biological attack. It was designed to disable the highly advanced quantum melanin network of the African population. Look at this photograph. The physical act of drumming generates the exact acoustic frequencies needed to activate the piezoelectric properties of the melanin system. Slaveholders legally banned this practice. They combined this acoustic disruption with chronic dehydration and severe nutritional depletion, systematically dismantling the biological battery required to generate charge. The resulting biological suppression induced massive trauma. Through the mechanics of epigenetics, these altered gene expressions and compromised bioelectric states were passed down consecutively across generations. This is the exact text of the 13th Amendment. The "except as a punishment for crime" clause authorized the relocation of the biological attack from the open plantation to the enclosed prison cell. Modern incarceration disables the quantum hardware through specific biophysical constraints: windowless confinement that blocks solar charging, fluoridated water calcifying the pineal gland, and chronic stress shattering magnetic coherence. The prison industrial complex functions as a highly efficient, updated iteration of the original biological weapons program. Today, an environmental dampening field operates against the human neuromelanin system. Constant exposure to artificial blue light depletes the pineal gland. Fluoridated water calcifies the transducer. Chemically processed diets strip the specific amino acids required for melanin biosynthesis. Overriding this suppression requires exact protocols to reboot the hardware. The system demands optimal exposure to natural ultraviolet light, hydration with structured mineral-rich water, and intentional acoustic resonance to rebuild the charge network. Activating the body's full potential requires complete rejection of the modern medical and media matrix. The science of human capability cannot be found in the systems designed to suppress it. The history was stolen, rewritten, and weaponized, but the original biological hardware remains intact. It is simply waiting for the user to step back into the light and turn the system on.